Thank you for sitting with me, Mr. Regis. Today I'll be asking you a few questions just about your life story, and you can share with us, some answers just to motivate everybody else, especially we, the younger ones coming up, okay? What is your earliest childhood memory?
Just playing around at home, and since Halloween's coming up, I remember Halloween. I went out and got some candy. I had a bag full of candy, and my brother, his name is Jack, and he's a year and a half older than I am, and he's different. Anyways, after we got our booty together, right? It was dark and it was late at night, and we were tired and we went to bed. And I put my stuff under my bed and we shared the same room. So he knew where my stuff was. And it was only a few days later that I discovered that my brother Jack had invaded my property. Yeah, he took my favorite piece of candy, and that was a chocolate Hershey bar.
Oh no!
and that left a memory in my mind as to how that portrays about later on in life about things, and I will get to that too.
So what were some of your childhood favorite games?
My childhood favorite games, what was always hide and go seek, cops and robbers. Back then, Roy Rogers was my hero, and his horse Trigger, and it was just funny games. Tag, King of the Hill, if you remember that. We always had our side of the street, and then the other side of the street, which was, we lived on a kind of a slant of hill, and they were the bad guys. We, of course, were good guys, and we would ride our scooters and bicycles and things like that. So it was always us against them. And then it came to a point where it was time for me to get serious about school. So Mom and Dad, they worked for a living. My mom was a full-time mom, but my dad, he started a diocesan purchasing commission, which sold products to the Catholic community in the Pittsburgh area, greater Pittsburgh area. So every church, every school, every organization that had Catholic in their name went to my father to get supplies, whether it was chalk or whether it was tires for the automobiles, whatever it was, he supplied it. Well, they were an old Irish family, and my father was very loyal to his mother. So, long story short, he would always, after work, go and visit with her, find out what the problems were, try to resolve them, because he was the head of the family. Inadvertently, he was like 7 children, so he was deciding how things were to run. And my mother, or my grandmother, relied a lot on him to make those type of decisions. Well, since he wasn't home very much, my mother got a little frustrated. And of course, it's went over a period of years. And it was by the time I was, I guess, 6 years old that decisions were made. And they got a separation. And my brother and myself went on to boarding schools. And that was a unique experience. I had never heard of boarding schools. And but it was Catholic boarding school. It was all the traditions that you normally would have. But at night, you by yourself, and it got kind of lonely. And that went on for 4 years. So I put up with it, but always stayed in contact with Mom. And I was given the final opportunity to be able to go and live with her. This is when I was after finished up the 5th grade. So in the 6th grade, I could join her. She moved to Silver Spring, Maryland, and was a school teacher. St. Michael's, the Archangel, and I thought it was a great thing. My brother continued his schooling at Mount Galitzin, which was the boarding schools, and finally he wanted to finish up there. He would come back and join us a year later. But it got me an opportunity to live with my mom and to have that company and relationship. And then I served out elementary years there, and then high school years went to another Catholic school, John Carroll High School in D.C., and then University of Maryland after that. It was at that point that I had to make some decisions. So for me, it was 2 years in the Army. That was a minimum requirement. Back then, the draft was on, and I had my number called. So I joined the Army, and it wasn't what I had thought it was going to be. So I opted for a school called OCS, Officer Candidate School. So Officer Candidate School is kind of a 9-month program where they train you to be an officer.
Okay.
More PT. That's really what I wanted. It was a sales pitch for more PT. So I finished up that program and went on my first duty assignment, which was the lovely post at Fort Polk, Louisiana. And this is where, during the Vietnam year, I guess I could say this, signs on city or in a public housing area were made out to say, soldiers and dogs keep off the grass. Well, you know, that warmed my heart. And but I went on and made a semi-career out of the Army, spent 11 years on active duty, and then decided to get out. And in the meantime, I had gotten 2 advanced degrees, one in human resources and the other as an MBA, Master's of Business Administration. So I thought at this point in my life I was more competitive than if I was to wait to 20 years for normal retirement. So I did. I applied, got accepted to EFN here in Durham, and went to join them. Later on, I got a Certified Financial Planning certificate, which allowed me to better understand who my clients were. So in that process, I learned a lot about myself in terms of what was important. Now, you remember we had the story about the candy?
Yep.
Well, it turned out that my brother, dear brother, he was a consumer, and I was a saver. That meant a lot. I could actually tell people who they were based upon their activities.
Yeah.
And so I knew my consumers wanted to buy things or travel or enjoy life, and my savers were looking at the future plan and what's going to happen tomorrow. And so I thought that was interesting, and then I got to my career, and I came to Durham not knowing anybody, so I had to work kind of hard, long hours in the evening and on weekends to have a clientele. So we went through that process, and in my later years as a financial advisor, I started thinking about what the future has for me. And my mom passed away while I was in college, and she came home from school and took off her dress and tripped and hit her head on a dresser, and that was it. So by that time, my brother Jack had gotten married, and I was by myself. So those were times when I had to make all the decisions for myself, and I learned that it was up to me to do the best I could. So at this later stage of my life, I had to make out wills. I had to plan for the future. It turned out I was fairly successful in my career as a financial advisor, and I had to accumulate some money. So I established a benevolent fund for my mom, and we established that through the Diocese of Raleigh, and it was going to be funded through my church. And my church has a school, started in 1909, called Immaculata. So I'm a member of Immaculate Conception Church here in Durham. And Immaculata has a lot of kids that were not doing what I was doing when I was their age. They're learning. They are learning. And in fact, I had a recent meeting with some of the people at the church and certain of the ambassadors that are high school. They are 8th grade students going on to high school.
Okay.
And it just surprised me and warmed my heart about how mature they were and knowing what they wanted to do and careers they wanted to pursue and the reasons why they want to do that. And so I know the money's going to be in good hands and going to be profiting, the school and carrying on that tradition. And then it was time for me to make out my will. And what was I going to put in the will?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a long process, and you think about the future, but what makes up the future? It's the planning.
Yeah.
And that goes back to financial planning and the 5 Ps. Prior planning prevents poor performance. So that brings up another point. If you're going to work hard for your living and you're going to accumulate money, then what are you going to do with it? Well, then it's a part of everything I earn is mine to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Pay yourself first, and it'll be available for you at some later date, whenever you decide. Pay yourself first. So you put off the mortgage, you put off the loan for the car and all the other things, but money goes directly to the bank account or the investment account. And you know that it's there, first thing, and then everything else is taken care of. So, in planning for what I was going to do when making out the wills, I decided to set up a trust. I was going to have a trust for my niece and nephew. It's my brother's children.
Yeah.
So, the trust for them is going to have some of the necessities. I was going to have things put money aside for the college. So when they graduate from college or any of the other programs that are part of the trust, they then get the money. They don't get it before, they don't get it until after they completed the program. And I have to see the certificate. So they finish college, they go on and get a master's degree, and they get a PhD. Tough stuff. Well, that embellishes their mind and their thinking process. Not like when I was their age, but they'll have a plan themselves. Well, I had to have something to go with that. So, I want to exercise. So they have to finish a marathon, 26-mile, 0.37 feet marathon, and it has to be approved. And it can't be a 5K race saying it won a marathon. So they have to do that, and then they have to give back. They have to give back part of what they got. I mean, isn't that fair?
That is fair.
So they have to pay back in some way into a nonprofit organization, whether that's Teach for America, the Peace Corps, even the military. They have to serve at least 2 years in that capacity. And it could be overseas, it could be in a distressed country. They have to put up with hardships. And so the whole program is really designed to give them an opportunity to grow up, to give them themselves what's in their heart,
Yeah.
and feel good about it. So hopefully they learn from that process.
That's
beautiful.
That is
Yeah.
very.
So that's my story.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time.
give me a hug here.
I definitely learned something from you today.
I
I
hope
did.
so. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being there.
Thank you.